Welcome back to Leadership Unveiled, the podcast for healthcare leaders ready to elevate their careers, mindset, and strategy. I'm Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt, and I'm excited you're here. So this is the intro, just short little episode for season 7. So I am back doing the podcast after a leave for having my third baby. So I was on maternity leave, and then I gave myself a couple months to come back to my corporate healthcare leadership position before I picked up this podcast again. And I'm excited to be here. And I've been doing some noodling about where I want this podcast to go and who I want to be talking about. And I really, over the years, I feel like I've been talking to folks that are in healthcare, right? Because that's what I do. And so people who are in healthcare tell other healthcare leaders about this podcast. So I'm really going to be speaking through the lens of healthcare leadership, not to say that this doesn't apply to other areas. I take advice and tips and learnings from other areas of leadership and professionalism and careers and try to implement them in my life in healthcare because we can all learn and grow from seeing how different areas solve their problems and making it work for us. So I just wanted to share though that I will be saying, I'm here for healthcare leaders because that's who I feel like I'm already talking to. And I can really hone in on some of the specific things, some of the specific healthcare needs, problems, questions over the last 4 years, almost 5 years, I guess. We have had to pivot in a huge way in how our healthcare system and healthcare is delivered, post pandemic. And so we're just changing things up constantly. The only thing constant is change, right? We're always told that. And I really believe that this is just a new time for proactive leadership, strategic thinking, data driven decision making, employee engagement. There are so many facets that we have to consider as healthcare leaders. And, there's not like one playbook for it, right? There's so many different books you can read and podcasts and all of that. And I just hope to bring what I learned through my real experience, plus whatever I'm doing, learning and helping myself develop to you. So that's why I'm here. I am just excited to help you lead with confidence, reduce burnout, and help you drive lasting impact. And I really want you to be able to unlock your full leadership potential. And I'm starting officially here with season 7. So you're going to hear some awesome podcast topics coming up down the pipeline. I've got an episode on proactive versus reactive leadership in healthcare and how to accomplish more with doing less burnout, all of that. We're going to be talking about developing a strategic mindset and the power of strategic thinking. We're going to be talking about how to navigate healthcare regulations proactively, how to sustain a proactive leadership and promote it within your organization. I'll have an episode on time management and delegation for proactive leaders. We're going to be talking about and diving into crisis management and staying proactive in tough situations. I feel like this is something that we are having to do drills around, right? We're trying to practice like, okay, if this happens, what do we do in this situation? So these are really good conversations to help us think of, okay, what exercises could we do with our teams? And I'm going to be talking about data-driven leadership, using analytics to anticipate challenges, and leading high-performing teams in healthcare and building a culture of accountability. And those are just a few of my episode ideas and outlines that I already have for you for this season. I wanted to share too that if you've listened before, maybe you haven't, I want you to know that you can always email me at kayla@kfaconsulting.org. KFA, like my name, Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt. And tell me, are there specific topics you want to hear about? Do you have a question that you want to submit? If you do, I'll read it on air. And hopefully your question is similar to a question someone else has, and I can answer it for you. And I also want to know that I have this podcast on all the podcast platforms, whether it's Apple, Spotify, etc. I try to have it on as many platforms as possible, but also YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, there might be a video component, or maybe it's just the audio with pictures overlaid. It just depends how much energy and time and space I have for the week when I'm recording podcasts. But this show will come out weekly. My goal is for Mondays for this podcast to come live, just because I think it's a great time to like kick off the week, whether you're listening in your car or you're listening as you're getting some work done, trying to keep the episodes to 20 to 30 minutes. So I would love it if on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Podbean, wherever you're at, if you would subscribe so that the episodes download and you get notifications, or follow whatever it is on that app. And if you would be so kind as to leave me a rating or review, if that's possible on that app, I would love it. I have a goal to get to 1,000 ratings or reviews on Apple Podcasts this year. And I have a larger goal to get to 1 million downloads at some point. I'm just putting it out there in the universe. At this moment, I have about 10,000 downloads. This podcast has been around for a while, but I really haven't focused on, getting to as many people as possible in terms of keywords and making it search engine optimized. But now I'm like, you know what? No, let's go big or go home. So I cannot believe I've just had 10,000 downloads just for funds. Let's reach more peeps. So yeah, leaving a rating review helps me. Liking, subscribing to the podcast all gets those episodes out. And we're just here to have fun. The other last thing I wanted to share is that I really want to continue to build community around this. So beyond just emailing me or commenting on the videos on YouTube or, engaging with the content, I would love it if you would come join my free group. I've had communities in the past before, and I'm bringing this one back. I don't know if the name's going to stay the same. It'll probably turn into just Leadership Unveiled community, but some of you might remember Leadership Collaborative. I've tried so many different podcasts or community platforms, and I think this is the one that I love the most. So I already have a bunch of content in there from the past, and I plan to update it with just quotes that I come across, different tips. I'll have my downloads there for you just all in one place. I might have specific podcasts, maybe private podcasts for members in there. I'm not sure. I'm thinking about dropping podcast episodes early for the community. So that might be a perk. But yeah, come join. And the point is to meet each other, network, be able to ask your questions in a safe, professional place where you can learn and grow from others as well as have access to me for free. I just think there's a lot to be learned from each other, from sharing, from being vulnerable and honest. And it's a private space. So we will have rules in there for what stays in there, stays in there, right? This is confidential. We're professionals. So check it out. I will have the link in the show notes, whether you're listening on the podcast apps or in the description if you're on YouTube. I think that's all I had to share for the introduction to season 7. Man, am I jazzed. But it's also going to be a season filled with grace, right? Because now I have 3 kiddos and life and work and being a person and a human and all that jazz. And I want to extend that to you too. We are going to continue to learn and grow together. Can't believe it's season 7. I think technically this is episode 137 overall. Crazy to think. Thank you for being here and being a supporter if you've been an OG, and welcome if you are new. All right, I will talk to you soon. Check out the latest episode that should be already posted on proactive versus reactive leadership in healthcare, and we'll be there for the next weekly show on Mondays. All right, take care, everybody. Bye.